Hello, so I thought I'd do a really quick video to share with you a technique that I used recently that really helped to stop me from feeling irritable. So, for a little bit of context, I decided this year as one of my New Year's resolutions to meditate more. There's lots of research which shows that meditation is really good for you, both for your brain and for your kind of well-being, and also for kind of like self-awareness. And so I thought I need to do it more. I know I've known this for a long time that I need to do it more, but I just don't do it more. So I thought, okay, what's a way of like making myself do it and not finding excuses not to do it? So I found a class that was at a time just after work, so that I could walk from my workplace to this place on my way home. So it's like on my route home. So I have literally no excuse not to go, because I'd have to walk past it anyway to get home, and I'll leave work to get there, so there's no reason why I can't go. And so I did that every week of January, and then I've continued it in February as well. So I've been quite a few times, and I found as well that there was a class at work, so I've actually meditated in that as well. So I've meditated at least once a week, but sometimes I've meditated twice a week. Now for me, I have meditated for quite a long time, quite a few years now. So it's something that I find really easy to do. And I know kind of like how to switch off and how to relax. And the thing that I struggle with is that I fall asleep, and like trying to stay awake while it's happening, because I'm so relaxed. I just fall asleep. Not into like proper sleep though. It's kind of like you're asleep but you're still awake, because you then come back to awareness. It's a bit strange, but yeah, it's quite restorative. It feels like you've been asleep, which is great. A little power nap as you're meditating, and you do feel like really kind of full in your heart, and you feel really kind of like calm. If you don't meditate regularly, I would really advise it. But what's part of this meditation class is that it's a Buddhist that delivers it, and at the beginning of it, she shares like little kind of extracts from a book, which is about how our suffering is a creation from our mind. And so it was interesting, because on this particular day, I was feeling really kind of irritable, and I'd had a terrible morning. So there was loads of things that were going wrong. So for example, I'd woken up late, and I had to get to work for an appointment. So I was like really worried that I was going to be late for it. So as I was kind of getting ready, I kind of then went outside, and there was like frost on my car, and I was like, oh, it's going to take longer to like defrost now, so I had to wait for that to defrost. And I'd already locked up, so I didn't have like the kettle that I would normally put on it. So then I drove to the tram, and just as I was about to park up in my normal parking space, another car that was directly in front of me like went there, and I was like, oh. So then I had to kind of like drive around it, and then because there was no spaces, I had to kind of come back on myself. And then just as I was coming back, the car that had stopped in my place decided to drive off, and so I ended up parking there anyway. And I was like, why did you do that? Like I was literally just about to pull in, and they pulled in front of me, and then they weren't even parking there. And then I got to the tram, but because of this incident, it meant that I missed a tram. So then I had to wait for the next one, which took more time, and I was worried that I was going to be late. And then as I got on the tram, it was really full, and there was a woman that was like banging into me with her bag, which was really irritating. So I communicated to her that she was banging me, and then she stopped. And then another woman took her place and started doing the same thing, and I was like, what is it about today? Like there's so many things that are really annoying. Gets off the tram, and then I'm walking from the tram, it's my right of way, I'm walking straight, and a guy like almost like crashes into me and make some comment about like, oh, they're all out today, or something like that. And I just kind of looked at him, and I was just like, watch where you're going. And then he starts having a right go at me. So he starts calling me a slag and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, right, okay. And I ended up just shouting at him saying, you rude. I walked off to my bus, and then I get on my bus, and then my bus takes ages to set off. And then I managed to get to work. And obviously by this point, I'm quite like unsettled. I'm feeling a little bit irritable. But it had been quite a while. It had been like about an hour or so, and I was thinking, why am I feeling so irritable? And I kept thinking about all these things that had happened in my day and why I was having such a terrible day. And then I kind of thought to myself, wait a minute, let's just, because at this point, all these things that had happened, they weren't at the forefront of my mind. Like, I was so conscious of getting to work so that I could get to this appointment, that I wasn't really thinking about everything. I was kind of just going along with it. And so I was feeling kind of irritable, and I was kind of like, right, write down everything that's happened today that has been an issue. So I wrote everything down on a post-it note. And then I kind of looked at it and I kind of thought to myself, right, the suffering that's attached to this I've created. Like, it's because I've attached suffering towards it, that's why I'm feeling this suffering. And so I kind of went through each thing and reframed it. So when I got to work, the appointment that I had, the lady was late anyway. So the things like me getting up later and feeling anxious about that, and the things like my car with the frost on, and the woman with the car parking space, and things like that, it didn't matter, because when I got to work she was late anyway, so those things just didn't matter. And as soon as I kind of said that to myself, I felt them kind of like release and kind of just like float away, and like, you know, like a cloud, and it just kind of disperses. It just kind of did that, and I was like, oh, that feels better. And then I started to think about the ladies on the tram and the banging the bags into me, and I was kind of thinking, well, it was a busy tram, and you know, they couldn't help it, they had to stand up, and the bags were swinging. I mean, in the back of my mind I was kind of thinking, well, you know, any, you know, intelligent person would put the bag on the floor and not like bang it into somebody else, but maybe they weren't aware, or they had things on their mind or whatever. I'm sure it wasn't intentional. You know, when I said to the lady that she was banging me, she apologised, so obviously it wasn't intentional or whatever. And even if it was intentional, well, what does it matter? Like, it was for a little while. So then that kind of dissipated. And then the guy that I kind of like crossed paths with, who called me a slag, I kind of thought to myself, well, he must be having such a terrible day, and he must have, you know, crashed into somebody else as well, because he was saying about, you know, it's everybody's like affecting him or whatever. He's obviously not in a good place. Like, happy people don't interact and communicate with people in that way. They just don't. You don't go about your day like calling other people and you know, assuming that you own the place. You don't kind of do that. And you know, the fact that his first retort was to call me a slag indicates a level of intelligence that guy kind of employs on a daily basis. So there's obviously things going on with him that is the reason why he's like that. It's got nothing to do with me. That dissipates, it went away. The problem with the bus and whatever, again, I wasn't late anyway, so it didn't really matter. So when I kind of went through it kind of systematically and I started to kind of reframe it, I kind of just started to think, actually, all those things have gone. They don't matter. Like, they've all kind of disappeared away, and it kind of put me in a really, really, really good mood. And I kind of thought, why have I never done this before? Like, why have I never systematically wrote down everything that's bothering me and then gone through one by one and thought about reframing it and thinking about it from a different kind of point of view, from my from who I am, my point of view, rather than my automatic reacting kind of brain, if you will. Like, why have I not kind of dismantled those automatic thoughts? So I just found it a really, really useful technique, and it kind of separated me from my thoughts and allowed them to kind of dissipate, which was what was happening and what was being talked about in my meditation session with you know, the Buddhist lady. So I just thought it was a really kind of good technique to share. You're probably thinking this is so obvious, but it was just something that really helped me in that moment, and I just had a good day after that. And I was kind of thinking, you know, why have I not done this before? So yeah, it was something really, really simple that really, really worked for me. And I think it's that belief that you can. I think there's a lot of things in Buddhism where, say for example, you observe that you're feeling angry, that then because you've observed the thought, it then dissipates. And so there's something behind that. It really works. So there you are, try that, see if it works for you, because it really worked for me.